Hey everyone, it's great to see you. I am planting up one of my bag in a pot planters today, and I'm thinking about fall. Yes, I know it's a little bit ways away here, but you know what? The nurseries I'm starting to see are selling off their stock now. It's for them getting towards the end of the season. So my mind starts thinking, what am I going to do to keep the garden going through the fall? And I think this planter is a great planter for that in-between time. So this is the bag and the pot. I have one large pot here. And then underneath you can see that orange, that's my pot riser that goes in the bottom. And then I put my 5-gallon nursery pot in, and I have filled in the rim gap with potting mix. And this is one that I just haven't had a chance to pot up yet, so we're gonna do that today. Now, for my spiller, I am going to be using Dichondra Silver Falls. I love this. It looks like fairy hair. It just is a happy little vining plant. I used this a lot last year, and then this year I didn't really see it much in the nurseries. So finally I found a few of these, and they're that bluish silver tone. They will look beautiful right through the fall. I've even heard of some people who can overwinter these in zone 6B/7A. If you have any experience with that, would you please let me know? Because maybe I should be leaving these to overwinter. I don't know. I certainly would love to have them coming back. And then alternating with the Dichondra Silver Falls, I'm going to be using this Heuchera. So you know that the Heuchera that is dearest to my heart is the dressed up ball gown chartreuse Heuchera from Proven Winners. But when we went to Russell's the other week, this is a different type of Proven Winners Heuchera. This is Fun and Games Hopscotch. And when I look at this, I'm going to flip it around. Like underneath the leaves, it's kind of purplish, and on top you're getting this green to purple. To me, this almost looks like it has a little fall coloring in it. So I'm going to take this nice big plant and divide it up for you. I'll show you how to do that and how we can use that in the rim gap. And then in the center, our beautiful thriller is this wee bit giddy hydrangea. And this hydrangea is going to be planted in the ground later, but until I get to really know where I want it, I'm going to put it right in here, and it will live happily in the center of this beautiful planter. I love the way hydrangea antique and look through the fall, so I could really see this planter looking fabulous. So let's start by dividing up the Heuchera. So the first thing you're going to do, if you have a big pot, it could be kind of root bound. I just gently roll it a bit, and it sort of breaks the roots away from the side, and then you can usually slide your plant out. Now, with a Heuchera, the stems tend to cluster together with a crown, and they call it, in the middle. That sort of keeps them all clustered. And so there's a lot of little clusters in here. Let me turn it this way. Do you see how there's like one cluster there? I can sort of grab it, all those little stems, and here's another little cluster there. You can cut those clusters apart very carefully, of course, and make new plants. Now, it's really interesting. Heuchera are what we call a short-lived perennial. They only live 3 to 5 years. But every time you divide them like this, okay, here we go. There's one with the crown. I didn't get a lot of roots. I'd prefer to get more roots than that. We're going to try again. Right down the center. Every time you do this, it starts that time sequence over for your plants. And it gives you, now we start another 3 to 5 years that this one will live. This one really got all the roots. Okay, well, we'll see how the others do. I'm going to go ahead and put these pieces into our rim gap. So I did check, and these smaller little pieces of Heuchera do have some baby roots on them. So we're just going to hope for the best. And I'm planting them at about 1/3, 2/3, and then 1 hole around the edge here. And we'll take that off. There we go. They're pretty big, so this is going to actually droop over a little bit. There we go. And I probably could have divided this again. We'll see how it goes. I always could still do that. Then I'm going to take out my Dichondra Silver Falls. Look at how pretty that is. It almost sparkles. There we go. And I'm just going to break up the roots a little bit. I think I'm going to have to bring in some more potting mix too. Oh, I can use some of this. This will be fine. If you have some extra, you can sort of shake roots out of it. There we go. This is so pretty. I'm getting some dirt in it right now, but you can brush that off and it will, over time, just sort of disappear. It doesn't take long. Just gonna dig this in. This way my container will look good no matter what side you are looking at it from. Okay. So if I were doing this against a wall, I might push all these plants to the front so that this would be the wall side and you'd see more. The other option is sometimes I would bury this pot back towards one side more and just leave the rim gap bigger in the front. So you do have some play that you can do with your bag and the pot arrangement. But since I don't really know where it's gonna go, I'm keeping it good all around. Now, this is my wonderful glow-in-the-dark petunia. The other day, I brought it in to see if it would glow. I've been keeping it in the hot sun, and I took it into our breezeway with no windows because I knew it had to be really dark, and I turned out the light, and I did not see any glowing. So I don't know, maybe it has to be a little older. We'll try it again. But when you have a plant in a tiny little pot like this, it uses up its water really, really fast. And I'm finding that it's drying out quickly. So I'm actually going to plant this in here while we're at it, if I can get it out. Let's see, we're gonna use the knife to help. Whoops. Yes, we got it out. Don't look. Okay, we're gonna add a little soil. And we're just gonna plant this in here, and maybe it will even be happier. I have 2 others of these. One is up in our deck planters and one is in a larger pot in the front. They look like they're doing well. I just haven't seen any glowing. So I know that a lot of nurseries sold these this year. I would be fascinated to know, has anybody had real success with their glowing petunias? Any advice for me? Adding in a little flower there, I think in the front though, is going to be perfect. A white petunia goes with everything. Okay, let's talk about our centerpiece now. This beautiful Wee Bit Grumpy. So I have a lot of Wee Bit Giddy plants, which are the brothers, the same series as Wee Bit Grumpy. And actually, I believe it's called Wee Bit Grumpy because one of the men who worked on hybridizing this plant had somewhere in their name Grump, and they just started calling it Grumpy after that person. Not that they were a grumpy person at all. But how could it be grumpy when you have a beautiful hydrangea like this? Wee Bit Grumpy gets to be about 2 to 2.5 feet tall and wide, so it stays pretty small. And because of that, I think it'll be a good choice for in the ground. It also is going to be hardy down to zone 5. So since we're zone 6/7, I really don't want to leave it outside in a pot unless it's hardy down to zone 4. Maybe I could get away with this, but it would be taking a little risk. I think that I have the choice of either bringing it into the shed or putting it in the ground. So before winter comes, I'm going to put this in the ground. Because I know I'm not going to store it in a bag in the shed, I'm not even going to put this in a bag because it's going to go in the ground in about a month or so. So what I'll do is I can just lift it right in like this. Boom. And doesn't that look fabulous? So my wee bit giddy will, my wee bit, and so my wee bit grumpy will look really beautiful in here. And then when I'm ready to put it in the ground, I just can whip it out, plant it in, no problem. And look at how gorgeous the trailers are around the edge. The Heuchera, I'm expecting to overwinter, no problem. So I'll just leave that in the rim gap. This is just a great way to save some money for next year. I won't have to buy something to replace it. It'll come back. And to enjoy this going into the next season. Now, since I'm sitting here, I'm wondering if you notice the geraniums behind me. The geraniums behind me are the ones that I planted from seed. And this is the corner that I wanted to look like Laura's on Garden Answers, but miniature. So last year she put in maverick geraniums in 4 squared off parts around her glass greenhouse, and it looked gorgeous. So I took this small little square here and I put in a bunch of maverick geraniums, and they're doing so well. I love the color that they bring. This is the Maverick Star and the Maverick Rose. And I even like how the colors are mixed together. Now, if I really wanted them to look like Laura's arrangement, I would have needed to put in some petunias to grow in between them. So maybe next year I'll scale it up even a bit more and add those petunias in. But the geraniums look fabulous. And I just love how hardy and sturdy. I mean, we have had rain, we have had heat, and they still look good. They still look the same. So for me, who's looking for something that is easy to maintain and gives me a lot of color the whole season long, that is the geranium. I love them. And I love this container. What can I say? I love all my flowers. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.